turned into a pursuit. Went into the oncoming traffic and started moving, didn't hit anybody. Everybody kind of moving out of its way, and then the pursuit was definitely on. California Highway, excuse me, it's going to be LAPD. They had a couple of units behind it, and there they are. They're kind of just following back, probably because they're worried about this type of situation. Pacific Coast Highway, we've had a lot of crashes out here, especially with that high-speed driving, and now we have somebody in a stolen truck. We don't know if that driver is familiar with this vehicle or if this was a crime of opportunity, and you can clearly see it right there. Speeds are really starting to pick up. Let me turn on some of that high-tech stuff we have. 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, that's not what you want to see on Pacific Coast Highway. And then, of course, with this bigger truck coming to a stop right there, running through another red light. These are the problems that we've been worried about, and then some pedestrians in that crosswalk as well. But again, stolen vehicle pursuit happening right now. Pacific Palisades is the area. Malibu is going to be our next stop. And, of course, California, I keep saying that, LAPD, the ones behind it right now, they have an airship up ahead, up above, and they're keeping an eye on it. But maybe the Sheriff's Department will get involved, especially if it gets into the Malibu area. Oof, oof, oof. Yes. Yeah. You can see this thing rocking, especially when he's going off the roadway like that. Then you get off the roadway, you get into those dips. It might not be a bad thing if he does something like that, and then the truck gets stuck or just gets stopped along the hillside there. Right now, those speeds are definitely kind of picking up. You can see it once again, but this driver really not concerned about any of those red lights or any of the traffic. Every time we've come into any kind of situation where there are other vehicles around him, he's made every effort to get around, meaning going on the wrong side of the road or far over to the right. So this vehicle clearly not stopping, clearly being very defiant of the laws. And again, continuing on, LAPD, I'm wondering if they have dropped there. They are way back there. I don't want to get too far away because we're coming up on some other traffic is what I just heard. It's kind of up there, but you can see all that stopped traffic. This is where it's going to get tense once again. If this driver decides to go onto oncoming traffic around those corners, we just don't want to see any of that. He's choosing that right shoulder, which is probably the better bet right there. But again, squeezing through, and again, just kind of making his way. Look, he's actually being blocked by another bobtail truck. Don't know if they're doing that on purpose or maybe he just wants to get over to the right to make a right turn. But again, these tense situations, you just don't want to see anybody get hurt, not even that suspect. I haven't heard, and I've been trying to peek. It's funny that you just brought that up. I really was just looking inside the cab, trying to figure out if we could get a good look at the driver. But right now, it's just one of those situations where we have to keep the signal up. That means we have to keep up a little altitude, and of course, LAPD, they're down low as well. But that truck kind of rocking around, I'm kind of wondering if it's really heavily loaded, meaning maybe there's a lot of supplies in the back, or possibly this is empty. But it does seem to rock a lot, especially when they start making those hard turns, which leads me to believe that there is some weight in there, which doesn't make the situation any better. As this thing being heavily loaded, that's going to create some issues for performance. And of course, you got a little bit of rain out here. I know Maria's been talking about that. The roads are starting to get damp, especially out here in the Malibu area, officially now in the Malibu area. And again, this is going to be roughly, it always gets kind of weird, but we're heading north. We're heading north out towards the northern part of Malibu, clearly. Pacific Coast Highway is the road. The speeds, 50 miles an hour, that's not slow, but at least they're not getting up here we go, up, taking up some of that center divider. But it's kind of blending in with a lot of the other traffic. I'm going to get a little bit wider to get an idea what's happening ahead of it. You got a little bit of traffic again up ahead, but it seems like he's moving along with the flow of traffic, which is good. But right now, LAPD, they're going to want to bring this to an end safely. Now he's starting to take up that center divider once again. Don't know why. There isn't really anybody behind him anymore. It looks like the black and whites that were on the ground have dropped farther back or maybe even discontinued, possibly because of the location, meaning we're getting into the sheriff's area, and or they might be going into tracking mode. They're hoping that the driver of this truck might calm down a little bit, drive a little safer, maybe try to do one of those, I'm going to stop here, get out and run. That's what it's all about, public safety. That's what law enforcement is always thinking about first. Yeah, you definitely can't see anything when they come around those corners, and we've been covering a lot of these high-speed crashes out here, and you know, we never get an idea of how fast those cars are going. We just say that they were speeding. Right now, technically, he's kind of in the pack down there. He's going with the flow of traffic, so I venture to say that when we see those numbers, 40-something miles an hour, that's about right. And that would also mean that whoever the commander is this morning that basically told the units on the ground, just back off, we're going to let the helicopter handle it. It is working. That truck driving a little bit less reckless is probably the best way to describe it. And as I say that, now the speed's starting to pick up once again. Believe me, I'm not blind to the fact that it says fast delivery on the side of that truck, but right now you just don't want to poke any fun at this because this could become a very dangerous situation, especially on Pacific Coast Highway, bigger truck like that, and the way this driver is driving this morning. You know, as far as law enforcement goes, the only thing that I can say for sure is the LAPD helicopter still above it. They're keeping an eye. Also would venture to say that, and again, this is more of just a guess, is that they are calling it out to the Sheriff's Department. Now, is the Sheriff's Department going to get involved? That's a kind of a call for other people that are pay grade much higher than mine. They may, I'm using the word may, they may be setting up a little bit ahead of it and possibly will be using trying to use some sort of spike strips, maybe to pop some of those tires or let the air out of those tires so that it turns this, and, you know, brings that truck to a stop. As it stands right now, it's more of a wait and see type of situation. LAPD, they're biding their time. They've got that helicopter over it. They're going to keep an eye on it. And of course, we're here as well. But as far as on the ground, lights and sirens, at this moment, nobody is behind it in an actual pursuit. And it actually is working. You can see those numbers dropping there, that truck driving more of the freeway, the road posted speeds, and keeping safer type of a situation. And that really is what it's all about. That's the only thing that, you know, law enforcement, of course they want to catch the bad guys, they want to get the criminals with those cuffs on, but in the end it's all about safety, and that's what they're thinking about right now. And it does seem like their tactics are working. Those speeds have dropped, that vehicle's driving a little bit more safer, and as I say that, you can see him kind of picking up speed once again. But as it stands, it's going to be more of a follow along and see what happens. And right now, that driver, that stolen vehicle, uh, using that center lane to pass that one vehicle that is probably driving the speed limit, and you can see him picking up a little bit of speed. And again, you know they're coming up probably on another light, but I'm going to just take a peek. But they're not. But there is a lot of traffic out here, and there's that LAPD helicopter I was talking about. So they're keeping an eye on it, and if hopefully this driver doesn't actually collide with anybody, and maybe this will just kind of come to an end where the driver decides, you know, this is a spot, I'm going to jump out and try and run. But other than that, this is all we can do right now is keep an eye on what's going on.
Oh, did he just take a red light there? Yeah. So, Stu,
Yeah,
the language, important, obviously, when we cover these breaking news types of stories. You just said at this point it's a follow along, see what happens. Does that mean it's not a pursuit? When do we categorize it as a pursuit? Does it depend on if there are black and whites following this vehicle? That's when we would call it a pursuit.
Well, you know, when I call it a pursuit, that would be when I hear the law enforcement actually say we're re-engaging the pursuit or we are in pursuit of, and we have actually not heard that. We've actually seen the opposite. They've backed down, and again, it's a judgment call on somebody other than us. And of course, they seem to be doing the right thing. In the beginning, you saw it. This vehicle driving very, very recklessly, trying to get away from those officers. Now, you know, 60 miles an hour in heavy rain, coming around a corner, that's going to create a dangerous situation as well. But as far as the actual law enforcement behind it, we're not seeing any of that right now. And of course, those lights and sirens, they could be helping the folks on the ground, the civilians that are just driving today. They might hear those lights and sirens. Make them kind of keep an eye on what's going on. We understand we have another solid red coming up as we're making our way over here by Pepperdine. Going to keep an eye on it. Hopefully this driver of this truck will make the right decisions and not collide with any other drivers. Looks like he's choosing that far right that looked like it was open just a moment ago. And if it's getting a little blurry for our viewers, believe me, I know it. I'm frustrated as well. That's actually just rain on the lens, making it a little difficult to see.
How bad is it raining there, Stu? Because I know that area has been plagued with debris and mud flow along PCH in Malibu. In fact, in one area going down to one lane as this box truck gets farther north, or west, I should say, on PCH, there is limited access in that area as well.
Hey, I'm sorry. I was just hearing that the LAPD is going to be backing off and that the sheriff's helicopter is going to be taking it over here. No, they're not taking it over. So the sheriff's department, they are going to be made aware on the ground that the that this is a stolen vehicle coming through their area. Are they going to be able to put out those spike strips? Are they going to re-engage us in a pursuit? That's going to be a wait-and-see type of situation until we actually know it. We really can't say it. But I can tell you that the LAPD helicopter, he got called back. He's making that U-turn. He's heading back into the city area. We're passing the Pepperdine area right now. That truck kind of blending in a little bit as far as speeds go. As far as Sandra, as far as your question, you know, hopefully, I was actually kind of hoping that maybe we would get into like those traffic situations where it does come down to one lane, and that would be the opportunity for law enforcement to make their move, kind of just make their presence or try to block it in or whatever they could do. But right now, it's just going to be a rainy road, Pacific Coast Highway. We're northbound, and we're going to keep an eye on it. It really is everybody's call. If the sheriff's department gets involved, that's up to their bosses, their commanders. Somebody's probably listening and making a decision right now. And also availability. They might not have a unit that is patrolling nearby, and they might have to get into position, and then again, it's right back to the safety. You know, how fast do we want our guys to get there in the rain on Pacific Coast Highway?
Stu, do we know how this whole thing began? Was it a call that came in? I know it was a stolen box truck, but is this person familiar with the company? Did they work there? Do you know anything about that?
No, Jen, I don't, and I wish I did, because those little nuggets of information really help as far as making a decision call for us. Or, you know, does this guy know this truck, or was this a crime of opportunity? Was this maybe an unhoused person that saw the keys in the vehicle? All those questions we don't really know. We do know that it was some sort of following. and that I would venture to believe that there's a tracking device on that vehicle, because there were no black and whites behind it until those ones that we saw arriving. But somehow that airship, the PD ship, they knew that this was a stolen vehicle. So my guess, it's some sort of tracking device inside there. I don't know if we still use LoJack or whatever the ones that they use, but I believe there must be something like that in there. And that also might be one of the reasons why law enforcement is basically just saying, you know what, let this guy drive this out, park that vehicle. You know, stolen property can be replaced. Injuries, somebody losing their life, that's something entirely different.
Yeah, it's certainly looking a little more dangerous as the rain starts coming down. That box truck approaching an area where, as you see from some of the barricades right there, where it is narrowing down in terms of the road because of previous debris flow into the area on PCH and obviously construction there. As it is, PCH being a dangerous road to travel on, especially when you talk about something like this and the nature of how narrow that street is in the Malibu area approaching Ventura right now, as well as the amount of traffic that PCH really handles in that area in terms of vehicles as well as cyclists. Obviously, it's raining, so not as many out there at this point, but clearly look at how narrow it is. If there was more traffic, it would be an even more dangerous situation still.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, I'm actually thinking, you know, we do so many of these, and we've seen this so much in the past. I worry that the roadway might get congested, meaning they're, you know, down to one lane where we are right now, and then possibly traffic, and then this driver going into oncoming traffic. We've seen him do it a couple of times already, and that really is something that has been going through my mind. You know, we just don't want to see anybody get hurt. He's making that move right now. He's been following that Jeep for quite a bit. He's probably looks like he's trying to speed up to get around it. Why? You know what? This is the thing. It's like, who are you running from right now? You're not running from anybody. You're running from your own demons as far as that goes, because there is nobody chasing that vehicle right now. Yes, of course, you have a lot of eyes on it. We're watching it, and hopefully that some law enforcement is probably watching our picture as well. There comes some Caltrans. I know Sandra was talking about it, and this is exactly what you've been saying. We've had a lot of mudslides out here. That far right lane has been closed in a lot of locations. And now look at that truck, and look at the amount of water that's on the road. You can see that those trails coming from those rear wheels. So there is standing water on that roadway. So when they speed up like that, believe me, I do get a little bit more worried. And again, you just saw that kind of weave, and then that thing rocks like that. It just all adds and adds and adds. But again, I'm sure this is what law enforcement, somebody's probably watching, maybe our digital feed or maybe the show right now, and they are kind of making a decision call. Do we get involved? Do we not? As far as the Malibu Sheriff's Department, Lost Hills Station, I am trying to listen. I haven't heard them talk about it, but I know for a fact that they're aware that this is going on.
We want to show the video from earlier, because right now what we're seeing is this car just going, or this truck just driving in a straight line, not much happening intense-wise. But look at what happened earlier, where he went on the opposite end of the road, right, against traffic. There you see people in their vehicles unsure of what's happening, but they do give him space, or him or her, we don't know if it's a man or woman behind the wheel, give that driver space so that they don't get hit. There you see the police car in close pursuit. So quite a bit has changed from earlier to right now, but definitely the driver driving recklessly, making a number of changes and violations that are illegal to do so. The roads being wet obviously complicates the matter further, because you don't know what is in this truck, right? What's being carried in the truck, how many people are in the truck, what lengths this person is willing to go to try to escape the police. And yes, this is already a very difficult road to drive on when conditions are perfect, let's say on a sunny, dry day. But now we're watching this vehicle. It seems like he is, or she is, picking up speed as we continue to watch.
You definitely, and we just did a little bit of a tight shot in there and just kind of grabbed a look at that driver the best we could. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but it definitely looks like if it is a unhoused person, it's a very well-dressed unhoused person. As far as we could see, just the driver and the cab is empty. The speeds, though, they're getting up into the 60-mile-an-hour mark. The only plus to that is that there's not a lot of other vehicles around at this portion of the Malibu area. So that was that's a benefit. But, you know, with those higher speeds, if there's something comes up in front of him or something catches this driver's eye, this could become a real problem very, very quickly. You can see right now, though, again, the way we can gauge the amount of water on the roadway is those rooster tails coming off those rear wheels. Now, that's a lot of water, so that means that there is a lot of standing water right there. And also, you can get an idea of the speeds. That's pretty accurate because we're a full push right there, and it's solid on that vehicle. So this truck going about 65 miles an hour, let's be real about it, as we're getting closer to Zuma. His hands is out the window. I wonder if he clearly has the window down. I wonder if that's because he's starting to sweat a little bit, realizing, you know, getting worried about what's happening. As far as the ride goes, you can see it kind of moving around. Looks like we're set. Nope, I thought maybe we were setting up for Canaan Dune, but just running another solid red there, very nonchalantly, which also worries me. If you have that type of confidence, you know, before a great fall comes great pride. We all know that one. So we're going to keep an eye on it for sure. The speed's definitely picking up as we're getting over towards Zuma. And Pacific Coast Highway, where are you going to go with this? I mean, if he decides to take one of those canyon roads, it's going to be even more hair-raising with that truck in making those tight turns. So the other plan might be, this driver might be thinking, I'm just going to go up to Ventura. I can tell you, Ventura CHP, they're a feisty breed up there. I'm going to say that for sure. If they're probably another solid red right there. If they get that far and we're still with it, this is probably going to have a much different type of ending than down here. But as it stands, this is a stolen vehicle, kind of on its own now, making its way northbound on Pacific Coast Highway, and we're getting into the northern part of Malibu right now. Roads wide open, but definitely raining out here this morning.
Yeah, they're no joke in Ventura, and he is approaching that county line about 10 miles, I believe, being familiar with that area. But gosh, you could see all that rain coming down and just how saturated PCH is right now. And look at the speeds in that rain. That is certainly frightening, because not only if there's a spin out that occurs, would that person be jeopardizing themselves, but also all of the other cars, even on the other direction, the oncoming traffic in the other lanes, they're at jeopardy as well. But look at all of that rain. You could tell by, as Stu was mentioning, as he called the rooster tails coming off of the tires right there, all of that slick rain. Ooh, and he's going to the left. I don't know if he's sliding around, Stu.
Oh, wow.
I think he might have just clipped that. There might have been a little paint swap right there on that K-rail. You know, and again, that kind of stuff, you just watch and you're just thinking to your, what, you know, I get that a lot. It's like, what are they thinking? I have no idea. I clearly have no idea what this driver's thinking. Possibly maybe he was on his phone right there, but you saw it. You called it out, Sandra. He was kind of wobbling back and forth, and for a moment I was thinking maybe it was just you know, the high speeds, and we didn't want to, you know, just kind of drifting through those lanes trying to take advantage of the empty roadway. But then when he kind of clipped that little thing right there, it makes me think maybe he's just not paying attention, which just adds to the trouble. You can see he went through a lot of water right there, a lot of muddy water, so there is a little bit of a mudslide. But continuing on, and northbound is the game right here. We're going to be getting out of the Malibu area before we know it, getting into Ventura County. I'm not sure if California Highway Patrol is going to be waiting for him up there, but we've covered enough of these, and I know the jurisdictions, and it seems like whenever we get into that Ventura County area, those California Highway Patrol guys, they don't appreciate any kind of chases on their freeways at all. And this is going to be in the Pacific Coast, off of Pacific Coast Highway, but it's still part of their jurisdiction. So we're going to keep an eye on it for sure, as I'm being told, and we'll keep watching it as we're making our way northbound. But the rain definitely getting worse, traffic getting lighter. But it's a trade-off for sure. It's still going to be very dangerous, especially with those speeds and that driver paying less attention. I don't know what he was doing right there, but going a little wider just to give you an idea of what's ahead. It looks like it's open road for the most part, but he hasn't slowed down or stopped at any red lights since we picked this up.
Stu, he is not listening to our advice here on Good Day LA, which is if the road shines, take your time, amongst other things. He is not listening to that advice.
He's definitely not listening to that excellent advice, Jen. But we're keeping up with him for sure. A lot of oncoming traffic, which is interesting as well. But I'm kind of wondering if the Sheriff's Department might be trying to set something up, at least to be in the area just in case he does kind of just pull over. But we never know what they're thinking. But for this vehicle just to stop and have this guy get out and run in this neighborhood, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. There's really no place to hide. There's no place you can kind of blend in. It's all mansions and hillsides out here. So it would be very difficult for that, or probably the driver thinking he's got no place to go. So he's going to have to drive up into the Ventura County area to actually even try to find a place just to get out of that vehicle and run. There's no way that this person's going to get away with that truck, especially everybody knowing it. And then, of course, we believe that there's some sort of tracking device in there. So right now, though, you can see it's getting more rainy. I'm going to have to talk with Dylan here for a bit, but he hasn't shouted out any problems with visibility as it stands. He just said we're all right now. So we're just going to keep an eye on it, keep watching it, and keep trying to figure out where he's going to go, what he's going to do. And I'd like to know what's in the back of that. That's my personal question, because it's a Lowe's delivery truck, so, there could be any kind of number of things in there, and I don't think it's a rental. I don't think this is like a customer rents this to bring his stuff to wherever they need to be. I think this is what, Lowe's uses to deliver things to job sites and or homes.
Well, I hope they get their money back on that. That's all I can say.
No. Yeah, no money back on that one for sure, but just kind of keeping an eye on it. It's in speeds. I'm wondering if that's accurate right now, because we are getting a little bit farther behind it, because I don't think he's going 80 miles an hour, but he is starting to take those turns a little hard. No red lights coming up. Neptune's Net should be here shortly. That is a great place to eat if you're in the area. I don't think the suspect's going to be stopping there today and trying to grab a live lobster, but you can see it. Let me take a look here. Look how wide open this roadway is, and how much farther we have to go before even another intersection. Again, we're just going to kind of keep watching and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, as we keep watching, we are approaching the noon hour, and when we do, we will continue to follow this stolen box truck on Fox 11. KCOP, formerly known as Channel 13. Fox 11 Plus will go back to watch this stolen box truck. And let's take a look at moments ago. The rain is coming down. We see this box truck going along PCH. And right there, it looks like he clipped part of the K-rail along PCH. And this reminds everybody how slick the roads are right there, how unpredictable this driver can be. Obviously, we don't know his mindset or the person's mindset at all and why this is even happening. But as Stu is mentioning, this box truck approaching Neptune's Net, that is the Ventura County line, and clearly won't be stopping for a bite to eat or to say hi to all the bikers up there in Neptune's Net. But we are approaching the noon hour, and we've been following this for quite some time as the stolen box truck has made its way towards the Ventura County line up the Malibu coast, weaving through traffic at some point in downtown Malibu, and clearly wide open right there as the rain keeps coming down along PCH.
It is one of these ones where we just kind of watch and wait. It's he's keeping those speeds well above whatever's posted down there. I can guarantee it. I just saw the brake lights come on. I was actually thinking to myself, that's the first time I saw that. There does seem to be a sign saying that there is another light coming up ahead. I just saw that, so I'm going to just kind of take a peek and see how much farther it is up there. But maybe that wasn't a stoplight or a signal coming up. Maybe that was just more of a watch your speed type of light, because he's definitely moving well faster than any of the other traffic down there. You know, you just don't know also. I mean, it is a delivery truck. It is early in the morning. You'd venture to say that whoever the assigned driver to this was, not that suspect, you know, they probably filled it up, or it was at least full with gas when they started. And those trucks, they can go quite a distance. So as far as running out of fuel, I would venture to say that's not going to be happening. As soon as I say it, he might run out of gas. But you can see it continuing on up there, and it's the rain definitely coming down in the Ventura area. You see a lot of those signs. I know for a fact that we've been doing coverage out here because they closed all the lanes. I'm wondering if they had reopened any of that. We're going to find out here shortly, I'm sure. But I would venture to say they have, just because of the fact that you see traffic coming the other direction, and of course we haven't seen any of the cones or any of the signs. But again, that truck this morning, or now getting into the afternoon hours, starting to use some of those center lanes, starting those speeds picking up once again. Don't know why he's speeding it up. Maybe he's thinking that, you know, it's getting close to noon, I got to be somewhere. But I just worry when you start seeing it swerve a little bit, or him going through those bigger puddles. I don't want to see this thing hydroplane. I just don't want to see anybody get hurt.
All right, Stu, it is 12:01, and we are here on Channel 11 talking about what's going on right now. We've been following this for the last, I don't know, over 30 minutes or so. This stolen box truck. On the bottom of your screen, on the right-hand side, you will see this box truck make its way across the lanes there, going against traffic, and really just aggressively trying to weave through those cars as those cars realize, wait, something's going on here. We don't know what, but we don't want to get hit. So they start to back away. You see a police car there closely follow the box truck and lead that car out of the way. And there it goes, and it's been on the go since, and it's been picking up speed, slowing down a little bit here and there, but we've seen a number of violations.
Yeah, we do want to show you another clip right here as the truck went closer up towards the Ventura County line in the rain. You saw that truck right there. Look, clip this K-rail because perhaps the roads are slick, or perhaps the driver was just being erratic at that point. But this is along PCH, more past the downtown Malibu area, as we saw that heavy congestion and the weaving through traffic. Now that stolen box truck approaching Ventura County. Again, you're seeing moments earlier, the initial point of this, when that stolen box truck was weaving through traffic, as Araxia was mentioning. But Stu, it looks like the signal is cutting in and out a little bit as you approach Ventura. Do we have you? I know the signal.
The issues we're going to start the restricted air point.
Okay, I did make out that he has restricted airspace and a different set of rules to follow as he makes his way up north.
So, you know, as we've been covering this, we've seen conditions out there with the weather also, you know, decrease as far as the amount of rain we're seeing on the roads. The roads are getting slick and wet. It is making it difficult and dangerous for this incident as we see it play out in front of us. You know, I have noticed there aren't many cars on the road right now as far as the direction that this stolen box truck is going, which is a good thing because we don't know, you know, what's in the truck to begin with, how heavy of a load it is, how experienced the person is who's driving this vehicle as well. And so sometimes we do see the box truck teetering and we don't know if that person's going to lose control. And so the fewer cars out on the road, obviously it'll be safer for all of the other people who have nothing to do with this. But it looks like we're going to have some issues covering this because Stu up in Sky Fox is losing some of his signal.
We do know that Ventura County law enforcement officials are aware of this stolen box truck making its way towards their area. So I believe this whole situation is being called off at this point, but we'll have much more on Fox 11 at 5 o'clock. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for being with us, and we'll connect you to your regularly scheduled programming.